welcome back Naqib Shifa, and he's going to tell us about Eid.
Yeah, so in the Islamic tradition, there are two major holidays. They're both called Eid. They just have a different suffix. One of them's Eid al-Fitr, the other one's Eid al-Adha. Eid basically means the festival. And the first one is at the end of the month of Ramadan. So right when the month of Ramadan ends, the Eid holiday begins. And there is a subtle note that should be mentioned about the date of it. Because the Islamic calendar follows the lunar cycle, a lunar month could be 29 days or it could be 30 days. So that's why usually to start off the month, Muslims don't have a fixed projected date. They usually have an estimation, and then it really depends on the moon sighting. So Muslims usually go out and do the moon sighting. And so because of that, the holiday, it could be one day off. So right now it's estimated to be April 22nd, but it could be one day before that, which is April 21st. The holiday itself, it begins with a communal sermon and prayer. So the whole congregation gets together. Sometimes even the mosque capacity can't fit it. So usually they go to a park or maybe like a football stadium or something like that, and to host the Eid prayer. So it begins with a sermon and then a prayer, and then after that it's festivities. It's like food, desserts, like activities for the kids, exchanging of gifts, hugs, and being with family. So that's the Eid al-Fitr that ends with the month of Ramadan. The other Eid holiday is Eid al-Adha, and that's associated with the fifth pillar, which is the pilgrimage. When the Muslim performs the pilgrimage, and it's aligned with the 12th month, Dhul Hijjah, which is basically 2.5 months after Ramadan. So for the Muslims who are on the pilgrimage, basically what the pilgrimage is commemorating the life of Abraham, the Prophet Abraham, and because he's the one who built the Kaaba, which is basically the sanctuary that Muslims face when they do their 5 daily prayers. And it's kind of retracing his life and biography, and then it's culminated with the Eid al-Adha festival. Now what's interesting is that for those who are familiar with the story of Abraham, one of the hallmarks of his life, of his biography, is the sacrifice, when God commanded him to sacrifice his son. And he exemplified that, I have my own human kind of impulses, but I also have my understanding that God's command is supreme, so he was willing to do that. But God, obviously, through his infinite mercy, substituted with a ram. He didn't want him to actually sacrifice his son. He just wanted to test his obedience. So that act to Muslims is viewed as the hallmark it's like the pinnacle of obedience. It's like the most iconic story of obedience to God, because anybody who's been a parent knows that the strongest attachment you have is to your child. And so the Eid al-Adha usually is preceded with a sermon and prayer, and then also Muslims go out and do a sacrifice and then distribute the meat, sacrifice of a lamb or goat, and then distribute its meat. And that is kind of the commemoration of the life of Abraham.
Thank you so much for helping us understand a little bit more about Eid, and thank you for coming back to the Jedi Podcast.
My pleasure. Thank you.